Welcome to my channel. My name is Jenefer Licet, and I'm going to talk about how I became a UI software engineer in less than 6 months. I honestly do not remember how I got into coding. I do know I saw a recommendation on my YouTube feed about what is software development, and I explained the difference between back-end developers, front-end developers, AI, machine learning. It was pretty interesting. And I looked more into it. I was already
2 years into my psychology degree.
I wanted to be a psychologist, but that would have took at least 8 years to even start practicing. I wanted to find a career that I can make a living off of, that I can balance my work and life, and so on and so forth. But so many developers actually were self-taught. So I'm like, the more I looked into it, I'm like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. It does seem like it's going to take a lot of work, especially I was doing a full-time job, going to college, and then I wanted to take on coding extra. I was like, I can't juggle everything. So I decided on my situation to take a break off college to focus 100% on coding and my job. And at the moment, I didn't have no software development in any part of my experience. I was like technical support. So I did support machines. I was really good with computers. So I did do that, but nothing coding involved. I looked up, so where do I start? I did do W3 schools, and they have like a great tutorial. They have quizzes. I did HTML, CSS, and JavaScript on those. And also I found so many, like there's Udacity, there's Team Treehouse, there's Code Academy. There's so many boot camps, especially where I live. And I wanted to choose the best route for me. I did not want to waste time. I had 6 months to learn how to code and get a job. So I did Udacity. I think that was the best for me personally. I love to read, as you can see from the books on my background. I love to read, and Udacity is a lot of reading materials, short little clips. They already have an editor inside their website, so that was like super easy for me. Anything I learned from W3 schools, I just put it into Udacity. Udacity was a little bit more in depth. They do explain everything, so that was really cool, really awesome. So after Udacity, I already had like my basics down on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. My first month, I only focused on HTML, CSS. I went ahead and built small web pages. Nothing that I posted, just stuff that I kept within my computer of projects that I built. And then when I got to JavaScript, that's when I'm like, okay, things just got interesting. JavaScript was something. JavaScript was a language that I wanted to get, because I know JavaScript with front-end development, I have to know it back and forth. Throughout the rest of my 6 months, JavaScript and its frameworks were what I was doing. After going through Udacity, after having at least 3 projects under my belt, 3 to 4 projects under my belt of basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I went ahead and did a few Udemy courses. I did HTML, CSS, how to build a site through there, and then I did advanced CSS and Sass, because I think Sass would give me a little bit more of an edge, especially when I'm applying to companies. So I did that, and then after that I did a whole JavaScript course that was super long. It was 28 hours or so. I went ahead and did that. I wanted to give up sometimes. That thing was so long. And like when you learn JavaScript, you guys, you gotta dedicate. When you learn coding in general, it's not the coding part that gets to you. It's the learning, the studying. Guys, dedication. You cannot just code one day and have a 3-day break. No. You have to code
Day after day after day.
in order to remember this, in order to get this. Do not take breaks. Code at least 10, 20 minutes a day. I coded 8 to 10 hours a day because that's what needed to be done for me to get some sort of job after this experience. After learning JavaScript, I went ahead and learned React. I did another Udemy course on React. I could have took a Nano degree from Udacity, but I'm not gonna pay $1,000 to learn React. So I bought an $11 course from Udemy and did React and React Native. And you guys cannot express this. After learning anything, HTML, CSS, Sass, JavaScript, React, Ruby, build something, build anything. After every single tutorial, after everything you learned, build something small, build something so you remember, incorporate it into your old projects, anything. It shows that you know this. That's what I did. And I think that helped me tremendously. I do take a lot of notes, but that's just me personally. So I can always refer back into what I learned, anything of importance. So that's something that I did. After my 3rd month mark, that's when I decided I need to build up my LinkedIn. Then that's where you could build your connections, get more job offers, like not job offers, but get your portfolio out there, get your experience out there. Mind you, I did not have an experience, but I count my projects that I built with React, React Native, JavaScript as experience. And that's exactly what I did. So I went to LinkedIn, I set up my portfolio. Any project that I built that I believe was worth it. I had 6 projects. I did buy the domain and host them. It did not take that much. It was $8 to buy any domain, probably like $12 to host it for every one of my projects. And I linked them on my LinkedIn account. I put the name I made up for them. I even put how long it took me to develop the whole website, the description. I put the languages that I used, how I developed it, and how my timeline was. I wanted to be as detailed as possible in my description. I put it for every single one of my projects. I count those as experiences for myself. I did not put my time at college because 2 semesters does nothing for me, so I did not even include it inside. After that, I started connecting with anyone who was within my region, sometimes outside, depending if I got a connection or anything, but software developers, HR, technical recruiters, companies, like I followed them, I requested connections, and I think that helped me a lot, especially when it came time to apply. So at my 5-year mark, that's when I'm like, I'm ready. I'm gonna start applying. Mind you, I could have started applying at the 3-month mark when I knew just HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. I could have gotten probably an entry-level job like around my 3-month mark, but I wanted to learn as much as I can with the timeline I gave myself. So within those 6 months, I was able to learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Sass, a little bit of jQuery, React Native, and how to work with APIs. That's basically what I learned. And also how to use Git. I learned all that in my 6-month mark. Was I a pro? No, but I was the best I could be in those 6 months. Like I studied nonstop. I built so many projects. I probably had over 15 projects in total, but only displayed 6 of those projects. I chose my best, and I think that's really what made me stand out, especially in the, I'm not saying it's a competitive field, but I'm saying there's a lot of people out there who have these degrees that are applying for the same position, and I needed to give myself a little bit of an edge. I needed that edge. So at the 5th month mark, I did start applying anywhere. I applied on LinkedIn. I applied on Indeed, Monster, Dice.com, Stack Overflow, ZipRecruiter. I applied to all those places. I applied anywhere where it said they only need 1 to 2 experience, 3 to 5 experience. Anywhere within that time, I applied. I sent probably over 90 applications. Within that month that I applied, I probably received like 10 to 15 responses back. And out of those 15 responses, I probably only had 6 interviews. I had to learn how to interview. They ask you questions, you give an answer. You have to do more than that and make yourself stand out. I try to stand out, especially in these interviews. So within that month that I gave myself when I started applying at the 5th month mark, other than learning how to code, I also learned how to interview. And interview is how to answer these questions, my demeanor when answering these questions. I wanted to practice all of that. And other than that, I wanted to learn how to whiteboard. I even went as so far as to buy my own whiteboard to practice how to whiteboard. I actually looked up what kind of questions they ask front-end developers, anything from JavaScript to SAS to React. I looked up all those questions because I want to be prepared. And honestly, it was like the worst headache of my life trying to get these down because they could have asked you anything. Other than that, I also wanted to look up what kind of coding challenges they would give you. They could be technical, like they could give you a coding challenge through the computer or a whiteboard or both. I would experience more of the whiteboard than the computer. What is it? Whiteboard challenges than the coding challenges through the computer. For that was really great because I did practice whiteboarding a lot, but I also did practice coding challenges through Code Signal, Code Wars. Those are awesome places where you can actually practice how to do coding challenges. I'll link those below. So you guys, if you want to practice, what worked for me is when I applied to a position, they tell me they want to interview me and they give me a certain date. That's when I start researching the company. I looked at in Indeed or Glassdoor. That's like the best places, even LinkedIn. Those are the best places where you can find even people reviewing of how they did their interview. Actually gather like their culture of what they're looking for, of what you need to do to get a job within that company. And that's what actually I did. And then from there, gather how much they would give me as salary. And that really helped me a lot, especially in the company I applied to. Like a very nerve-wracking experience, that interview. That's just a video for another day. But let's just say I gave it the best I got with 2 hours of sleep. I was very confident, very humbled, and also really wanted to get as much knowledge as I can. I always responded back, and let's say if I didn't know the answer, I was truthful about it. I did not want to oversell myself. I wanted them to know I'm willing to learn if I did not know the answer. And better than say I don't know, I would say I actually do not know the answer to that question, but how would you do it? Or what would be the steps that you would take? It actually helped me a lot to do well in that interview. After that interview, I walked out of that building and I was like, Lord, have mercy, let me get this job, because I gave it all I got. I believe if they don't hire me, it's because they actually did not like me. I answer the questions as best as I can. I know I gave them like really good answers. I did not try to throw any just random answer out there. I did pass their coding challenge, so that's all I can ask for. 2 days later, they did come back with an offer, and it was more than I can say. It was like more than I was expecting, especially for 6 months. They did accept me in as a mid-level engineer than a junior engineer. That's why they did give me that pay grade for it. And I'm glad I took those extra 3 months to learn those like slightly more advanced JavaScript and then the React and the React Native. So I ended up being a UI engineer in that company, and then soon after I became one of the React Native developers. So I was very grateful. If you guys want to learn about more of the interview, how that went, just leave a like or comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.